Sam, and this is one of my movie reviews. Now, as some of you may recall, I reviewed Disney's Babes in Toyland around Christmas, and that movie starred Ray Bolger, aka the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz. And I told y'all that I'd be doing a full slate of movie reviews based on his movies, and the time has finally come. I chose today because January 10th was Mr. Bolger's birthday. If he were alive today, he would be 121. Yeah. Probably the oldest actor I've ever been a fan of. And now, I have told you all that Chad Stewart from Chad and Jeremy died 10 days after his birthday. Well, Ray Bolger died only 5 days after his birthday. And that's why, for those few days, I have put together what I like to call Bolger Weekend! 5 days isn't exactly a weekend, but it's shorter than a full week. Now, we're going to start off Bolger Weekend with his film debut, The Great Ziegfeld! And that's actually a biopic of Florenz Ziegfeld. He was a real showman on Broadway. And the film covers his life from the beginning of his career up to his death. It starts off with Ziegfeld in this like circusy business in probably vaudeville, I don't know. And what you learn about him in the beginning is that he's basically a cad. He's a ladies' man, and he has like a different girl like every other night. He is always getting broke, and he can never get a good hit for the life of him. Like the first thing you see him do is like make a strong man fight with a lion, and the lion basically faints. So Ziegfeld's shows make lions faint in the beginning, more like. And then he meets a French actress who would later become his wife, Anna Held, that's her name. And they get married, they fall in love, like they're deeply in love, and they're married for most of the movie. And while they're married, Ziegfeld puts together this really amazing like showstopper called Ziegfeld Follies. And it's really a bunch of dancers dancing and all, and it's all girls wearing feathery dresses, sparkles, and guys dancing around them, and it's actually phenomenal the way they do it. Like they have there's a sort of set where it's a winding staircase, and right at the top there's a gorgeous lady, and all along the stairs is just dancing people, singers. It's amazing. Amazing. And then at some point, the Ziegfeld gives up on the Follies and ultimately gets divorced, but he does get a new wife, a certain Billie Burke, and she actually gives him a great life. He's actually able to afford a lot of presents for her. I mean, he did buy Anna Held a lot of presents, but here it actually seemed like he was able to afford them because he has a house, a child. It just seems like he's come a long way. But, of course, it all falls apart again, and he tries to get 4 hits on Broadway, and he does, but they eventually fall apart, and the movie ends with his death. And they actually do his death really well. Like, that's actually the last thing you ever see in the movie, just him dropping this rose and flopping, and yeah, they did that really well. Like, when they did that, I was like I spent the last few seconds of the movie with my mouth open. So I did have a little bit of a hard time figuring out, like, okay, the finances things, like, showbiz is funny that way. You start off broke, and then you end up rich, and then you end up broke again. Yeah, it just depends on what they do with you. So, yeah, it was realistic in that sense, and it is technically a biopic, so it's gotta be some realistic. And it's funny because most, like the IMDb and even the opening credits say that Billie Burke is like a main character, but really she doesn't appear until the last 40 minutes. The real Billie Burke, 3 years after this movie, went on to be Glinda, the Witch of the North. So yeah, Florenz Ziegfeld Jr. married Glinda. That was interesting. And there's also a really fun side character there. Jack Billings, that's his name. And he's played by Frank Morgan, aka the Wizard of Oz himself. And he did a good job playing that guy. Like, I'm not sure he was real, but he might have been. But if he was, Frank Morgan might have been a good choice to play him, because actually the character does remind you a little bit of the Wizard of Oz. Like, it's like he's a mix between a bad guy and a good guy. Like, he seems like a total scam, but really he's helping out, you know? And you guys are out there going, wait a minute, Sammy. This is Bolger weekend you're talking about, and so far you have not mentioned him at all. Yeah, his appearance is very brief in this. But when you do see Ray Bolger, the first time you see him, he's a stagehand in Ziegfeld's productions. And what you see him do is that he's sweeping up this carpet, he's holding a broom, he's sweeping, but he's tap dancing with it, and that was amazing to watch. I was like, Ray, you could tap dance and sweep a carpet at the same time. I hope you stretch first. Yeah. And then eventually he gets a role in the Ziegfeld Follies thing, and he does it really well. Like, he sings and he does a whole dance routine. Yeah, seriously. Like, they called him Rubber Legs for a reason. He was so flexible. Like, Ray Bolger's dancing always sweeps me off my feet. It's amazing. Amazing. So the Great Ziegfeld is very decent. The one big problem that I actually have with it is that it's too long. It's 3 hours long. I mean, sure, it's telling the story of a guy's whole life, but still, the movie didn't begin with his childhood or anything, but still. Ziegfeld must have had a lot to tell, you know? But still, that's a nitpick. Despite the length, The Great Ziegfeld is very interesting. I liked how it depicted this showman's life. I mean, they didn't get Billie Burke to play herself, but that would have been something. But the lady they did pick to play her was good. She was great. And, of course, I love Ray Bolger. I love Frank Morgan. So, yeah, this was a decent film. It was a decent film with phenomenal song and dance routines and good people. That's the best way to describe this film. And while it's Bolger weekend, I should say that it wasn't a bad movie debut to make. Happy birthday, Ray. Mwah! So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all tomorrow for the next Bolger weekend review. Bye!